Sesame Street Series Finale. I'm pretty sure you all have heard of the popular kids TV show, Sesame Street. It is about a bunch of Muppets named Elmo, Grover, Big Bird, Oscar the Grouch, Cookie Monster, Abby, Cadabby, Zoe, Rosita, Ernie, Bert, Count Von Count, Snuffy, and the other Muppets I don't remember. I went to a garage sale and found old tapes. I found one that said, Sesame Street Series Finale.avi. I bought it, and I paid for it. The manager said that the Muppets will come to your house tonight. She said it in a scared voice. It looks like she was scared after what she just saw. I then went home and slammed the tape into my VCR. The tape began with the Sesame Street theme song, but something wasn't right. The theme song had low quality, and the theme song sounded distorted and low pitched. It sounded like if the tape was beaten. The episode starts with Elmo singing in a raspy voice. It then shows Rosita sitting down. Everyone had depressed looks on their faces. It then shows Big Bird jumping and singing and also laughing. Nothing too disturbing so often. But it then cuts to Grover flying Super Grover as usual. But, however, he then crashes into a plane and dies a horrible death. I almost cried. Grover was one of my favorite characters. It then cuts to Cookie Monster eating a cookie and are the other cookies. But the cookies are made of real children. I almost puked. A cookie with organs. Yuck. Also, I realized that Cookie Monster had bloodshot eyes and had red pupils. This freaked me out. It showed Oscar the Grouch smashing his warm pal Slimmy. Or Slimy, I don't know. I almost cried. Poor creature. I then tried to change the scene, but it wouldn't let me. I then hid under my blanket. It then showed Elmo staring at the camera with pitch black eyes and red pupils. He said, Elmo knows where you live! He then said, Elmo knows that James lives in Chicago! I gasped. How do you know my name and where I live? Question mark, question mark, question mark. I then turned it down, but it wouldn't budge. It then cuts to a picture of the Sesame Street cast. Appeared for 5 minutes. It then became static for 15 seconds. It then shows Elmo. The same again. He said, what about death? I was shocked at first. How did Elmo know a dark secret about death? Question mark, question mark, question mark. This was insane. An image flashed on the screen. I played it back and it was a mutated kitten. I then played it back and realized it wasn't a kitten, but instead my cat Chocolate. I almost cried at first. I felt sad. And I hugged my Tinky Winky plush and ran out of the room and turned on the lights to calm me down. I then called 911, but I accidentally dropped my phone down the sink. I then kept watching. It showed Kermit yelling at Cookie Monster angrily. Cookie Monster was now crying, and then Cookie Monster had enough of Kermit's abuse. He then grabbed him by the neck and strangled him to death. I then got worried at this point. I saw there were characters abusing each other in a kid's show. Question mark, question mark, question mark. That would never happen in a kid's show like this. It then shows a nuclear bomb hitting Sesame Street. It all exploded. And everyone died in a horrible, painful ... death. I got horrified at this moment. It showed their dead bodies on the ground. And it showed Elmo rotting into pieces of stuffing and flesh. Cookie Monster has rotting into flesh and organs with stuffing. Why is this so graphic? Big Bird had his head torn apart. And the others are even worse than Elmo, Cookie, Grover, Oscar, and Grover. Even Big Bird. The episode ended with a black screen. The credits rolled, but instead of a normal theme, it was silent. I then took out the VHS and smashed it with my hammer. I then threw it into garbage. I then contacted Jim Henson, the creator of Sesame Street. I then told him about the episode I watched. He got confused and he said he would never put anything disturbing or brutal. But he found out that it was an employee from PBS Studios who made this episode and got fired. Then the police came and said what happened. I said I watched a list episode of Sesame Street. They said, where did the tape go? I told them I smashed it and threw it. They said, keep it a secret from a child. I then agreed to them. I then told my parents about that VHS tape. They said, what happened? And then I told them, I smashed the VHS. They said, try to not do it again. I agreed with them. I couldn't sleep for days and had nightmares from this episode. I then looked at my window and saw a red Muppet that looked similar. It was Elmo. That same look. And I saw the other Muppets staring at me. I then ran away from my house and hid under the covers. I then looked and they walked slowly towards me and they sang the theme song from the show. They sang it in raspy voices. I then cried out for help. And the others came into my house and the Muppets were taking over my house. I then jumped out the window and I almost died, but I survived. I then noticed a person dressed up as a bloodstained pink elephant. He said his name was Tom McGrath, the person who worked on Penguins of Madagascar, the movie. Okay.